Hi book friends, I'm Erin, and this is Erin Go Read. This is the start of a reading vlog. It is Sunday morning about 9-ish. I'm ready to go to church, but walking the dog before we do that. And I am loving this fog, especially because I'm reading the book 5 Days of Fog by Freeman. And I am basically irritated at life that I have to do anything other than read that book. So at one point this morning, I was like, okay, I want to get in the shower at 7:30, and then I'll have plenty of time to let my hair air dry, and I can go back to reading afterwards. So I set a timer. At that point, it was 20 minutes, and the timer went off, and I'm like, shut up, Alexa, I'm gonna keep reading. So I probably read another 10 pages after that, and finally got myself into the shower. So I think I'm gonna have maybe 10 minutes to read before I take off for church. Also, come see, come on. I have a really cool day today, but unfortunately not a day that's gonna allow for a lot of reading. My husband has a couple Marine buddies that are here in town, and they came to visit yesterday afternoon, and then they're gonna come back again today to visit with them again. One of them had come to see us like 5 years ago. They both lived in Boston, and Dan had to come out to San Francisco for a wedding, and since he was just 100 miles away, he made sure he got to come by and see us. So that was about 5 years ago. He just moved to Marin County, so that's, for those of you who don't know, that's the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge is Marin. So Lee, who does live in Boston, flew out specifically to so they could come and see Sam. So we're gonna have them over for a couple hours this afternoon, and then it's NFC Championship time. Niners versus the Packers. I actually have my jersey on under my clothes, so I'm ready for the game. At the very least, my mom's coming over to watch the game at my house. So super excited for the game, and then hopefully maybe later this evening after the game's over, which should probably be around 6 or so. Hopefully I'll be able to get some reading in this evening. Check in with you later. Alexa, set a timer for 8 minutes. He's looking so frantically for a toy. Hang on. The 49ers are going to the Super Bowl! Woo! Oh, hello. Good morning. It's Monday morning. I have just finished my Bible study, and I'm going to read a bit of 5 Days of Fog. Yesterday, great day, great visit with my husband's Marine buddies. My husband was nice and alert and talking to the guys, and actually a really great thing. Sam has really poor short-term memory, and so the guys had visited Saturday and Sunday, and so yesterday when I got there, the guys were going to be there in like a couple minutes, and I said, do you remember who came to visit yesterday? And he said, Lee Kennan. And he was right. He couldn't remember the second guy, but it was amazing. He hadn't seen that guy in over 13 years, and he remembered that that's who had seen him, which was incredible. And I think maybe that the reason for it, we've seen some other memory related kind of anomalies recently. And I think it's possible that the reason for that is that we're transitioning him off of this just chemical cocktail that is traditional tube feeding. He can't eat by mouth. He has a G tube, so he gets all his medicine and his food through a tube that goes directly to his stomach. And he's been on that for 12 years, over 12 years. And we're transitioning him over to a whole food formula where the ingredients are literally like broccoli, spinach, garlic, garbanzo beans, almonds, and not a bunch of industrial seed oils and just chemicals. And there have been a handful now of instances where we've had some sort of like memory that normally isn't there. And so that's really great. And he's only getting a third of his calories at this point from the good source. So speaking of fog, actually, I'm wondering if a good part of his memory issue with short-term memory is actually more of a brain fog issue than actual injury to his hippocampus, the area of your midbrain, which is responsible for creating memories. So that's really exciting. So transition there to 5 Days of Fog by Anna Freeman. I am about 90 pages from finishing this. I am absolutely loving this book. So what it's about is in the 1952 in London, there was this 5 days of this really intense fog, and it was a combination of the pollution in the air and the fog itself just created this dense blanket over everything. And everything had to shut down because it wasn't safe to travel by vehicle. The fog was that intense. There were terrible accidents people were getting into. People were getting lost. And also just respiratory illnesses like crazy because they're breathing this stuff in, and there was like black grime on everything, on people's faces, on their teeth, as if in one instance she wrote, as if he'd been chewing the fog. And so it's during that time where we are spending 5 days with the people in the Cutters, which is a woman's gang. And our main character, Flory, is a young woman. She's the daughter of the head of the Cutters. Her mom gets out of prison at the beginning of this 5 days of fog, and but Flory is in love with her cousin, Ted, and Ted is much more of a straight arrow, and they want to leave the gang life and just go live a straight life somewhere away from all of this drama and crime. And they kind of get pulled in, and so we're just seeing what is going on in their life. Are they going to be able to escape this? Are they going to get dragged into it? Or if they are dragged into it, how are they going to drag themselves out of it? Is that possible? And I can't put my finger on what it is that is so remarkable about this book. About the writing. I don't think there's anything particularly beautiful about the writing. I think it's pretty straightforward, but it's just really immersive. And the atmosphere, you have that kind of claustrophobic feeling of the fog. And actually the scene that I'm in right now, Ted and Flory are kind of having this real deep conversation. They're trying to be as honest as they can with each other and kind of talking about things that they've been holding back from the other one for fear of sounding horrible to the other one and the other one not loving them, basically. So they're laying in bed, and Ted has already kind of laid it out there for Flory, and now it's Flory's turn. But she's just so afraid that he's not going to love her because it's her side of the family that are the criminals, that they're the Cutters, and it's his side of the family that not so much. They're kind of on the outskirts of this and just have to deal with it. So he pulls the quilt over their heads, so they're in this little safe cave where she then feels safe to open up. and it's this blanket over them in their room. It's like the fog that's happening outside that's just over everything. And so you have this really like pressed in, closed feeling throughout the whole story, that really, you like really hone in to the characters and what's happening. So yeah, I'm just absolutely loving it. And like I said yesterday, I'm like irritated with life that I have to do other things other than read this book. So I'm going to give myself some time right now. What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. So maybe I'll give myself like 20-30 minutes to read right now before my dog starts going crazy and needs to go for his WALK. And you hear him whining? It's starting to get light outside, and that's when he knows, like, that's when we go. We normally go right around sunrise. And then I need to get some work done today, and not read, but hopefully I'll be able to carve out enough time today to read this whole book, or to finish this book. What? Come on. Come on. All right, so it's now 8:15, and I'm gonna film a couple of booktube videos before I get to my more businessy work. So I just have, from time to time I'll make a spread that kind of looks like this about like just my video ideas for that month. There will probably be more videos than are listed here, but the two that I have planned that I have yet to do are going to be kind of my favorite books of the last decade. So from 2019, or from 2009 to 2019, and then how to read more. A lot of people make a New Year's resolution about reading more, and so I'm just going to go over some tips about how to do that. But I haven't prepared for that video. I just have a couple, some ideas rolling around in my head. So first I'm gonna write those ideas down, and then I will get to filming those two videos. Good morning. It's just after 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. I am headed to a independent living center where I teach a fitness class on Tuesday mornings, and I'm almost done with 5 days of fog. I've been able to read a bit this morning, and I have like 25-ish pages left, so we're kind of right at the climax. All of the characters are together, and we're gonna find out what's happening with everyone. What the resolution will be. So I think I'm actually gonna come straight home after my class to finish that before I go on to Sam's for the rest of the day, because I just really want to read that book, finish that book. And then this morning, while I was doing other things, taking my dog for a walk, taking a shower, getting ready, all that kind of stuff, I started listening to Little Men as I'm doing the Year of Louisa May with Kate Howe. And not with her, but following along with her. And it's so lovely. It's so sweet. I love it. So I'm listening on my library app, Hoopla, and I listened to Little Women in December, to the audiobook as well, and it's the same narrator. I think her name is Susan Bernice, I think is what they said. And it's just a sweet narrator voice. It really suits the story. And if you don't want spoilers for the end of Little Women, I don't think it's like a huge spoiler, but skip ahead 10 seconds or something. It's Little Men takes place at Plumfield, where Jo and her husband are running this home for boys, this school for boys, and so we're being introduced to the boys there, including Meg and John's boys, or Meg and John's kids are there, and it's just like, it's so sweet. It's so sweet, and there's some really great wisdom about raising kids and allowing them to be kids and to have fun and to do, to roughhouse and all that, but also giving them structure and set expectations on them where they know the consequences and all that. But yeah, done with just such love and care, and I just love it. I loved it. It's so good. It was a hopeful but not too tidy ending, which I really liked. It's not like everyone turned good and everyone's gonna live happily ever after or anything, but the fog lifts and there's a bit of light in Florrie's life, and there's hope for her future. And I just absolutely loved this. I want to read more by Anna Freeman. I just felt so connected to the characters and immersed in the fog and the gloom of what all was going on. So great. All right, I guess I have to get on with the rest of my day now. It's 6:40 and I am done working for the day. I was supposed to have a video conference call today, and the guy ended up having like a family emergency, so that didn't happen. But I was able to finish the module I'm in my personal training certification guided study, so that's going on right now, in addition to starting my business and working on getting some clients. So I am done with that for the evening, and as I finished 5 Days of Fog this morning, I'm going to start a new book. This is Dear Edward. I already took the dust jacket off. This is a book of the month edition here. Dear Edward, and so Edward's I want to say like a 12 or 14-year-old boy, and he's the only survivor of a plane crash. Excuse me, sir. And so it's like him dealing with that, as well as like the publicity and stuff that comes from that. So it seems like maybe a heavy contemporary, I suppose. Also, I'm watching the Australian Open. The American Coco Gauff, the very young American Coco Gauff, is playing right now, and this match is just started. Oh my goodness, my dog is driving me crazy. He keeps trying to lick my fingers. Okay, bye. So the first chapter, we're introduced to a handful of people, including Eddie's family, his brother and his parents, and then just a handful of other passengers that are on the plane. And it's just written in this really like observant way, or just describing what's going on with these people. And there's these just little nuances that she keeps picking up on that just seem so true to like the experience of air travel. So the plane's about to take off. Jordan and Eddie, despite their silent feud, touching shoulders for comfort as the plane builds speed. The passengers holding books or magazines aren't actually reading anymore. Those with their eyes closed aren't sleeping. Everyone is conscious as the plane lifts off the ground. And there's just so many of those little things that are just... she just writes it in a way that it really makes you feel like you're there and experiencing it. Good start. What are you wearing? What are you wearing? What's that? What is it? What is it? What is it? You want to sit there? But what is this? You got shoes on. You got TT's shoes. Charlie, where's Uncle Sam? There he is. Good job. He's right there too. That's young Uncle Sam. Where's TT? Where's TT? That's Uncle Sam. And that's his shoe. You're right. I don't think I actually checked in yesterday. I had the kids, and I had the kids. I had a video conference with my business coach and got some direction business-wise. Did a bit of work and maybe a little bit of reading in Dear Edward, and I've just now read about 25 pages. It's about 7:20 right now. And I'm really, hello dog, I'm really enjoying this book. We're alternating, you know what it's time for. We alternate chapters between Edward and his life recovering and what he's going through, and chapters of a handful of the people on the plane who then didn't survive. And I think that altering, like, as much as the progression of the story is Edward's life, I think the breaking up of Edward's story helps to kind of, it's like it helps to keep you from getting down too much, I guess, or getting too deep into Edward's head. As you know, he's struggling quite a bit, and life is just so different for him than it ever was. Even his name, he was Eddie before, and now he's Edward, ever since the crash. One thing that I didn't anticipate, but is really interesting, is that Edward has a traumatic brain injury. And so a lot of what he's dealing with, not only the psychological aspect of having lost his family and having survived this terrible crash, is also that he has a traumatic brain injury, and recovering from that, and the way that his brain works now, and how that is different. And my husband has a traumatic brain injury, much more severe than Edward's, but for me, it's like a juicy little nugget for me, I suppose, because it's something that is really interesting to me. But yeah, I'm really loving it. And I love the boy. I love the people who are in his life. He's really close with his neighbor. There's a 12-year-old girl and her mother who are friends with his aunt and uncle. And they've become a really crucial part of his life and his recovery. And it's just lovely. I'm just really enjoying it. And again, like 5 Days of Fog, I'm like irritated with life that I have to put the book down and do other things. So I need to go do those other things. So I'm going to go get dressed for the gym and take this guy for a WALK. And then probably do a bit of work actually before I actually leave for the day. I have a pretty big day, kind of middle of the day stuff. I have an appointment. I'm going to be at the gym, and then across the street is my chiropractor. And then immediately from there, I'm going to help an older lady from my church pack. She has to move this weekend. And then I have my first discovery call, so a potential client. So hopefully I can make a sale today. And I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to get to see Sam or not today, but we shall see. It should be a good day, and hopefully I'll get to read more of this tonight. Just parked at my husband's rehab home, and I noticed we have some neighbors visiting at the fence line. This area back here on the neighbor side has recently been cleared. Hey, buddy. We have some new friends. A couple over there. If you look back there, there's actually like a ship. And then it's right, let's see, here there's like this little lake, and it's just covered in muck right now. But this area was full of trees before, so we've never had nearly this kind of access to what this part of their property looked like. So these people own a ranch, and they do a pumpkin patch in October, and we actually will do we do like a field trip where we take everybody in the wheelchairs and everything over there and have a nice time with them. Well, here comes this one. Coming to visit, maybe. The young one. They both are. Happy cows. This is actually a different neighbor over there. They own, not sure if you can make out very well, there's a pig. There's a pig right there. They have pigs, turkeys, sheep, and I think chickens, although I haven't seen the chickens. But they run a, it's like a natural pasture-raised farm. So the animals basically live a really nice life. Kind of free-range pasture-raised like this, just eating off the land. And then eventually they become cuts of meat for people to enjoy. But they do get to live a really nice life, and this is the way I think meat should be raised. That before meat becomes meat, that it should get to be a happy animal. Oh, and I should say also that we can be part of that decision-making process of how the animal is raised before it becomes meat with our dollar. So if we don't buy the commercially raised animals, but we do buy the pasture-raised animals that got to live a good life, we're voting with our dollar. We're making, putting our money where into the hands of the people who are taking care of the animals in the way that we think they should be taken care of. And healthy animals leads to healthy people. Let's get your left hand to help a little bit. Put that right there. Okay. Reach across your body. Grab that. There you go. There you go. Sorry, did this startle you? Is the water feeling warm? Okay, here's a washcloth. Walking the dog, it's actually starting to rain, so hopefully we will make this last third of a mile or so quick. But I booked that client, so we had an excellent conversation. She's totally ready to do my program. She wants to take control of her health and to be a good steward of her body. And I'm just super psyched to get started with her. So yeah, I'm like super pumped, and I just want to go like work right now. So I'm probably gonna go spend a few hours in my office and then hopefully chill out tonight with some reading. Also, okay, totally different subject now. Back on to reading though. Little Men. So listening to the audiobook of Little Men, and it's so lovely and so sweet. But one thing I'm noticing, like thinking of it compared to Little Women, is that there's very little plot. It's mostly just kind of the everyday life and sweet stories of Joe and Fritz and the boys, mostly boys. There are a couple girls. There is one boy, Dan, who kind of provides a little bit more of an actual ongoing plot, which I imagine will end up very nicely. We've had a nice positive turn with this boy, but also as Joe is like the adult woman in this book, she's much less. I feel like we've lost a lot of Joe-ness. She's not the same plucky girl as a grown woman. She's very much more like Miss March, although still with affection for those who either girls who would be a tomboy or boys who are a little bit mischievous, because it reminds her of herself as a girl. But I feel like there's a real lack of characterization in adult Joe. She feels like Mrs. March 2.0 basically. So there we go. Good morning. So it's about 7:45 on Friday morning. It is a beautiful morning outside. It is like 48 degrees at like 7:45 in the morning. So it's really nice and pleasant out right now. Air feels nice and crisp, and finally taking Mr. Whiny Pants for his walk. I'm not feeling awesome this morning. On what my husband affectionately calls my woman time, and I'm not feeling great, didn't sleep great, and so I'm having a bit of a lazy morning, and I've read about 20 pages of Dear Edward this morning, and it's so good. I just want to be in this book all the time. And so when I was thinking about the chapters where we're with the people on the plane, it's, you know, it breaks up the bits where we're with Edward in the present, which sometimes can feel like a little bit of a letdown. You're like, oh, I want to be with Edward. But then, truck going by. But then it's so atmospheric, and you feel so much like you're with them on the plane. Just the little descriptors she picks out about the noises on the plane, or the way that people are sleeping, what have you. It's so good. And then also, because we're moving back and forth between many people on the plane, you know, a handful of characters, and we only get to those characters every other chapter. It's not a ton of time that we're spending with them, but we still get a good sense of who they are and what they're going through in that moment. And I think the atmosphere really plays into that. Come on. So yeah, I'm just absolutely loving this book, and I plan to, when I take him back inside, go back to the couch and enjoy some more of it. Not huge plans today or anything, just gonna go be with Sam for kind of the middle chunk of the day, and I probably won't do any work until this afternoon, I think. So I'm just gonna have a nice lazy morning reading. Eventually need to take a shower and get ready for the day. But for right now, I'm just gonna have a cozy morning on the couch with a blanket and my coffee and Dear Edward. As the story has gone on, I've noticed that the chapters that have to do with the people on the plane are getting shorter and shorter. Where they used to be, I don't know, 5-10 pages long each, they're now like 2-3 pages long. Like, they're running out of time. I loved it. It's so good. You have to read Dear Edward.